There's a moment, usually quiet and unnoticed, when trauma stops being a memory and becomes the architect of your entire inner world. And most people don't even realize it's happened. It starts with a girl named Mara, standing in a grocery store aisle, staring at a box of cereal. Nothing special, nothing dramatic. Yet her heart is pounding as if the world is closing in. She doesn't know why. She just knows her throat is tight, her hands are trembling, and her brain feels like it's been yanked out of the present. To everyone else she looks fine, just another shopper debating between brands, but inside she feels like she's back in a moment she spent years trying to outrun. She leaves her cart behind and steps outside, breath quick, eyes burning. And she wonders the question so many trauma survivors whisper to themselves late at night. Why is my brain reacting to danger when I'm safe? What's wrong with me? If you've ever asked yourself the same question, you're not alone, and nothing is wrong with you. What you're experiencing is the result of how trauma rewires the brain. To understand this, imagine your brain as a city. You have neighborhoods for memory, emotional control, problem-solving, logic, and intuition. Under calm conditions, the traffic flowing between these areas is smooth. Signals move predictably. But trauma, especially repeated trauma, changes the city's wiring. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detector, starts operating like a hypervigilant emergency siren. It goes from scanning for danger occasionally to scanning constantly. Your hippocampus, which organizes memories and helps you know what's past and what's present, loses stability under prolonged stress. It shrinks in volume. It becomes less efficient. So traumatic memories aren't stored neatly. They spill over into the present, making neutral moments feel dangerous. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of the brain responsible for emotional regulation, goes offline when the amygdala fires too intensely. It's not a weakness. It's weird. Your brain shifts from living mode to survival mode. Every behavior, every thought, every emotional reaction has a neurobiological fingerprint. That's why trauma can make you jump at sudden sounds, assume abandonment even in healthy relationships, struggle with decision-making, or feel disconnected from your own emotions. You're not overreacting. Your brain has learned to protect you even when the threat is long gone. So back to Mara. She sits in her car, breath slowing, hands still gripping the steering wheel. She doesn't know that her amygdala is responding to an old threat. She doesn't know her hippocampus is struggling to remind her she's safe. She only knows shame. Why can't I handle it? Why can't I be normal? Why is my body reacting like the danger is still happening? What she doesn't realize, and what so many people don't realize, is that trauma isn't just a psychological wound. It's a physical one. When you experience trauma, especially in childhood, your brain gets stuck in patterns of bracing, patterns of anticipating harm, patterns of expecting the worst. Imagine living every day as if you're holding an invisible shield, even when no arrows are flying. That's what trauma does. You become an expert at scanning for danger instead of scanning for joy. You learn hypervigilance instead of rest. You learn emotional numbing instead of connection. And here's the part no one tells you. The brain doesn't choose these patterns to punish you. It chooses them to save you. Trauma is the brain's attempt at rewiring for survival. Your brain isn't malfunctioning, it's adapting. But adaptations that protect you in danger can trap you in fear long after the danger is over. And that's where healing begins. Not in blaming yourself for your reactions, but in understanding that your nervous system is trying to protect you using an outdated map. Once you understand that trauma teaches your brain to overpredict threat, you can start teaching it something new. You can show it one slow moment at a time that the world here, today, is not the world you lived through back then. Healing doesn't come from forcing yourself to get over it. It comes from giving your brain new experiences of safety. Small ones, repeated ones, the kind that slowly rebuilds the pathways between your emotional brain and your rational brain. Over time, the threat detector learns to stand down. The hippocampus regains strength. The prefrontal cortex turns back on. This is neuroplasticity. This is the brain's ability to change, even after trauma. And here's what's most empowering. The very brain that was injured by trauma is the same brain that can heal from it. Your wiring is not your destiny, simply your starting point, and your starting point can be rewritten. Mara doesn't know all of this yet, but something shifts inside her as she sits alone in the parking lot. She notices the breeze coming through her cracked window. She notices her shoulders dropping just slightly. She notices her breath calming, not because she forced it to, but because her body naturally starts to return to baseline once it realizes it's safe. This is how healing actually begins in real life. Not in big epiphanies, but in tiny moments of noticing. Trauma taught her to brace. Healing will teach her to breathe. Trauma taught her to scan for danger. Healing will teach her to recognize safety cues. Trauma taught her that she must always be prepared. Healing will teach her that life can be lived, not just survived. She drives home slowly, aware of a small but powerful realization. Maybe her reactions aren't signs of brokenness. Maybe they are signs of adaptation. Maybe, just maybe, there is nothing wrong with her. There is simply something unhealed. And if you've ever felt like Mara, if your emotions feel too loud, your reactions too big, or your memories too close, let this be the moment you stop blaming yourself. Trauma rewires the brain, but the brain can rewire again. You're not stuck. You're not ruined. You're not too late. You are simply carrying a nervous system that learned to survive the hard way. And now you're learning something new. If this story helped you understand your mind a little better, stay close. There are more videos on trauma, healing, anxiety, depression, neuroscience, and emotional resilience waiting for you on this channel. And you don't have to walk this journey alone. Stick around, your healing story is just beginning.